welcome to the album man. Today we're doing a concert review. Yes, the series that no one watches, but still I continue on. And we're taking a look at, I saw Bob Dylan, as you've probably seen by the title, at the Blackpool Opera House. And when was the date? Let me just look a sec. 24th of November 2013. And this, of course, on his Tempest tour. And yeah, Blackpool Opera House, let's firstly say, a bit of an odd venue to pick. But apparently, by what I've heard, Bob Dylan likes to play at different venues, sort of each time he comes to the UK, plays from different venues, have some variety, and hey, that's understandable, you know, but I think it's a pretty good venue for Bob Dylan's type of music, because it has that, you know, that old sort of theatre style to it, so, you know, it's not like a giant arena like the Echo or the Phones for You, MEN, or, you know, one of those big, you know, huge arenas, which I don't think suits Bob Dylan's type of music as well. You want to have more of a personable thing with his music. And a brief look at some of the sets. So he played 7 songs from Tempest, Duquesne Whistle, Early Roman Kings, Long and Wasted Years, Pay in Blood, Scarlet Town, Soon After Midnight, and Roll On John, which we're particularly going to be talking about. A couple from Bloods on the track, some Twisted Fate, Tangled Up in Blue. These are just some of the notable ones. Bring It All Back Home, he played She Belongs to Me, Along the Watchtower, Lovesick, and yeah, you know, there's some of the notable songs. Of course, there's other, you know, great songs he played. He doesn't really have many bad songs, and well, certainly the ones he does have, he didn't play here. You know, I didn't think he was going to be playing Self-Portrait in its entirety. So yes, I think firstly, before we talk about the set itself, let's talk about, well, his performance, because there's so many people out there who say his voice is shot to pieces, it's blown apart, it's dead, he's crap live, he's, you know, all this negativity that does surround the modern Bob Dylan. Now, is his voice what it once was? No, it isn't. I mean, compare his voice in 2013 to, well, let's say 1963, or particularly I think his voice was at its peak actually in the mid-70s, around about sort of Bloods on the Tracks. Bloods on the Tracks is my favourite vocal performance from Dylan, and some pretty hard songs to sing. I mean, you know, and he plays Tangled Up in Blue. That is not that's one of Dylan's harder songs to sing. I mean, he's never had, I would say, he's never been one of the best singers necessarily. I mean, there's, you know, so many people who sing better than him. But the thing about Bob Dylan that's always been fantastic about his voice is the rhythm, the timing, the delivery of the words is almost unparalleled, you know, from Bob Dylan's music. And that's what makes his voice so engaging and enigmatic. And here, what he really did is, because he knows that his voice is shot to pieces and that he can't hit those notes. So you heard jokes saying, you know, well, a singer like Meatloaf might, you know, duck out of the high notes. That Bob Dylan ducks out of every note, and it's not too far from the truth. But what he does is, instead, he's adapted the songs to around his voice. So all of them have this sort of 50s sort of shuffle to them. Yeah, this sort of shuffle vibe. You know, the type of vibe that you got on, like, Tempest. You know, if you've heard Tempest, you know exactly what I mean. Songs like Duquesne Whistle and Pay in Blood, you know, they have this sort of 50s shuffle, this skiffle thing to them. And he's really adapted all his songs like that. So you have All Along the Watchtower with a bit of a shuffle, and Tangled Up in Blue with a bit of a shuffle. And it might sound like cringy as hell, All Along the Watchtower with skiffle, you know, it doesn't sound good, but it seriously works. It really does. And while his vocal performance and delivery isn't as clear as it once was, I mean, you know, certainly, you know, a lot of the songs, you pretty much, as a Dylan fan going to see him, you'll know a lot of the lyrics, and you'll be able to pick them out. If you're new to Dylan and for some reason just thought, well, go to a concert, don't know a song, then you probably would find it a bit hard going. But, you know, as long as you know his stuff, then you'll be able to understand what he's saying. And yet, some of it does catch you off guard. I mean, Tangled Up in Blue, you didn't quite notice it at first. It was only when he said, I forgot a key lyric in it, I noticed it was Tangled Up in Blue, because it was really quite a different version. But the thing is here, it works. Okay, the older stuff actually works really well. I mean, the backing band is just fantastic behind him. And Dylan really didn't play guitar at all through this. No acoustic, no electric. He simply played the grand piano, of course harmonica, and Well, or, you know, of course, just stood at the front singing, which was a bit odd. I expected him to play guitar. I don't know if he really does anymore. You can tell me if you've seen Dylan. As I said, this is my, well, I haven't said, but it's my first time seeing Dylan, so, you know, I'm not that experienced. But yeah, I thought that was a little odd. But still, you know, it didn't matter that much, really. But yeah, as I said, these songs, the band he's got behind it, and they really know what they're doing. I mean, Dylan always has a great bunch of musicians backing him, and yeah, these guys know how to play the songs, and the variation, as I said, they just work. But the thing where Dylan is especially good nowadays is, well, of course, is modern stuff. I mean, he performs the modern stuff, the stuff from Tempest, from Love and Theft, from Modern Times. That stuff is really what he does the best live at the moment, I'd say. So when you're hearing something like Duquesne Whistle or Pay in Blood, it just sounds fantastic, especially the sort of production, the the sort of the sound quality of the show is just, I can't fault it. Everything is very clear, you can hear every instrument clearly, every note, but, it still has that good live feel to it, and Dylan's voice certainly, of course, very prevalent in the mix, and the mix is pretty much perfect, honestly. And yeah, these songs, it's really nice to hear them live. He does a very good job of them, and okay, they're not too different from how they are on the studio albums, he doesn't mix them up, really, but still, nice to hear them live, and I think that's what he really does best. But the problems really I had with this, honestly, were in the set. I mean, it was a strong set, a good set, but there was some noticeable, omissions, like why there was nothing from Highway 61 revisited. I don't know, because for someone seeing Dylan for the first time ever, it's a tad bit disappointing to not hear anything from your favourite album of Dylan's. I mean, I wasn't quite expecting him to play Desolation Row, which is my favourite Bob Dylan song, and probably my first or second favourite song of all time. But, I hope maybe to hear Like a Rolling Stone or Ballad of a Thin Man. I mean, he always plays Ballad of a Thin Man. It's amazing, so I can tell why. Or at least maybe, if you want to mix it up, play a bit of Tombstone Blues, something like that. I don't know, I suppose Tombstone Blues is quite hard to sing, but Ballads of a Thin Man, and, that's not too difficult. I'm sure he could skiffle it up a bit, Well, he has, for God's sake. I've bloody heard him on YouTube do that. And also, Blonde on Blonde, because of course that album, just no one cares about Blonde on Blonde, clearly, and it's not like there's a ton of songs, and songs that he probably hasn't played for a while. I'm not exactly expecting him to play Rainy Day Woman, or Visions of Johanna, but he could have played something, just something. And of course, Freewheelin', because that album, again, who cares about that? But the weird thing, actually, is that most of the concerts on this tour, he did play something from Freewheelin'. Of course, the classic, Blowing in the Wind, probably the most important song, if not second most important to Like a Rolling Stone, in his catalogue. The ultimate sort of protest song, Blowing in the Wind is. Now, it's quite interesting, I have mixed things. You see, the end song he usually plays, as his Encore, Along the Watchtower, fantastic, who can bloody fault that, even though the Hendrix version is better, I'm sorry, but even Dylan can see that. But yes, this time around they played Roll On John instead of Blowing in the Wind, and this, to me, it's a double-edged sword, because on one hand, it was the live debut of Roll On John, so it's pretty cool to be hearing a Dylan song live for the first ever time. That is a pretty awesome thing, I have to say, and I was pretty pleased about that. I mean, of course, Roll On John, if you don't know Tempest that way, is about, John Lennon. And as Blackpool, I suppose, is the nearest he played to Liverpool, he decided to honour John Lennon on, I think it was the last night of his three-night stay at the Blackpool Opera House. And yeah, that was cool. He also did play it the next day, actually, at the first gig of the Royal Albert Hall. But yes, it's only been played twice, and I saw the live debut, so that's pretty cool. But also, again, as someone seeing Dylan for the first time, I wanted to see Blowing in the Wind, really, because it's blowing in the wind. what was there to say, but the thing is, with Dylan, he's had such a huge catalogue of songs, you can pick and choose. I can say, oh, well, from Bringing It All Back Home, so She Belongs to Me, I'd rather have Mr. Tambourine Man, or Bob Dylan's 115th Dream, or, the list could go on, or Where's Hurricane? Not that he ever really plays that. But still, the thing about Bob Dylan is you've just got to accept that he plays whatever the bloody hell he wants to, and you just put up with it. And I think it was especially prevalent. He sort of showed that almost at the end. After Roland John, the band got together. You know, a lot of the times musicians, towards the end now, you know, thank the audience, oh, thank you, you've been great, all that. Bob Dylan didn't. He just stood there. He just stood there. Didn't say anything, just stood there. His band came next to him. And that just shows, you know, it's almost saying, you know, I'm not, you know, necessarily grateful to you. It's, you should be grateful that I'm still bloody doing this. And you know what? I am. Yeah, I'm grateful I got the opportunity to see Bob Dylan. I think certainly one of the most important living musicians, and one of the most important musicians in music's history, particularly rock music. My favourite type, as you can see behind me. And yeah, and I'm a huge Dylan fan. I love seeing him. It really was a privilege, and I'm so grateful I have had the opportunity to, and I would like to see him again. Hopefully he might play, you know, something from Highway 61, maybe Blow in the Wind, you know. And he does seem to do quite different sets each tour, so I just have to see, but with the price of its tickets, this could probably be the only time I'll ever see Bob Dylan. But if it was certainly a great time. I enjoyed it a lot, and do catch Bob Dylan. Don't, you know, don't regret it. Don't, you know, when he eventually does pass, you know, take the opportunity now while he's still healthy, while he's still touring, and yeah, and I hope he makes a new record, because Tempest was pretty bloody phenomenal, honestly. So this has been TheAIbumMan, taking a look at Bob Dylan's live, and yeah, so thanks for watching, comment, subscribe, and as usual, long live rock and roll.